everybody, and thank you for being here with us on Must Be Nice with Kyle Adams and Chad Johnson. That's Kyle Adams. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going, everybody?
good. I'm Chad Johnson, and special guest this week, we got Ryan Danley.
Hello, how are you?
How's it going?
All right, how you doing?
Good. I gotta hide the thing so I'm not seeing a bunch of. There we go. Boom. That works too. Okay. Wish I could hide me from myself. That's fine. I don't mind feedback. Immediate feedback of my own face. That's cool.
That's the worst part of Zoom comedy to me is I don't want to stare. Like, comedy's already delusional, but I don't want to stare myself in the face while I'm being delusional. Like, I don't
No. I was on. I did Emma's Truth or Dare thing, and I was like, I just don't want to be talking to the screen and having people go like, okay, and it's just like, and so I just stood up and I just walked back and forth because like it made me feel comfortable pacing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it was just I don't know, it was weird because then I just got into like personal jokes on a Zoom show because then now it's just or it was a Twitch show, but still it's like I don't know. It's I was talking to Emma earlier, and that the format of like a Zoom show, it's way different than an open mic because an open mic has the one time, like you could just, as long as nobody's recording, you can just feel free to do it and have it be an open mic. But on a Zoom thing, it's like, okay, this is like there's sometimes that I don't record myself on purpose because I just want to fuck around and see what happens.
Right, you just want to tell a joke without it having being like, you know what I mean, like broadcast over 7 states and like,
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah,
I've only done the 2 comedy shows on Zoom so far. I did Emma's, which was the most fun I've had doing any kind of remote comedy.
It was super
and
fun.
then I did the 50 Shades of Brown show. I think it was with Sushil was the guy, and that was a lot of fun because I was in India and I woke up early to do it. It was like 9 a.m. doing comedy because it was 9
Were you
p.m.
shade number 1?
What's that?
Were you shade number 1?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like 50 Shades of. I was like, I was a token white guy, I believe, but still, like that was really funny to me. It's like it's kind of nice to be the token white guy. Like I'm down for that. I'll do it.
Yeah, you're like Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold. Oh, in Soul Plane.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Soul Plane.
That movie's awesome. I hadn't ever seen it all the way through. I watched it during quarantine. It's awesome.
Is it cool? I watched it in high school and remember liking it a lot, but I don't know. I've revisited a lot of things since high school and they haven't held up.
Yeah, it's a tough business there.
Quarantine is good for this though. I feel like I'm currently on season 7 of CS. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like it's terrible. It's not nuts like SVU, but it's like it's I don't know, it's watchable. You know what I mean? And like that guy get paid like $6 million an episode, so I sort of like pay attention for it because of that. And I don't know, quarantine has made all our house like a prison day room, so we might as well just like pound out some bad TV. You know what I mean? And bad movies.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that.
I was just talking to Emma about this. There's still so much fucking traffic. What's going on?
I know that is a little bit crazy. That blows my mind, especially well, today's Sunday, right? I was driving around today and there was crazy traffic. Like I drove my dad to work this morning and there was just ridiculous traffic coming back from Beaverton. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like it's just I think people are fed up with everything. I don't think they're really following guidelines at all.
Right. Yeah. We're just gonna be like this forever.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Multnomah Falls today. No joke.
Nice.
I had to get my poor kids out of the house. Like my one child like is in first year of high school and like really has done nothing since this all began. Like really, like hasn't done much of any socializing. Like it does, so finally today I'm like, let's just like go someplace. And most people were masked up and stuff there, but like I don't know. They're like you still like saw people like smoking in the tunnel under the road as you're walking out to Multnomah Falls and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you like? Like really, you still smoke during all? You know what I mean? Like really, you're like everybody's dying of respiratory shit out here, and you all are still.
No, that's true. Like I think about that when I smoke because I still smoke a few cigarettes a day,
Right.
and it's like I mean if there was a time I even voted for the more expensive cigarettes, and then I was like okay, that'll just push me one step further to be like okay, well this is more of a stupid decision now.
How much are cigarettes now a pack?
10, 20 something.
Ooh. That's a hike. That's a hike up for sure.
Yeah. It's
yeah. When I smoked when I was in high school, and this will date me a little bit. And they were $2.25. I lived in the state with sales, with tax. They were $2, and you had to have like that quarter. Like, I'd scrounge around and try to find $2 to go buy cigarettes. But I just couldn't imagine spending $10. That being said, though, like if you went to New York City at the time, they were already like $8 a pack there. So it's not. I don't know. I guess it's all kind of perspective.
Yeah. So they're probably 15.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
It's great.
Yeah, cigarettes are a hard thing. I was talking to the guy at Plaid Pantry when I was buying them, and he was commenting about how much they cost, and he's like, "You ever try to get into the vape stuff, man?" And I was like, "Oh no, I think like the thing that's going to get me to quit cigarettes is me just going, I'm going to quit cigarettes and just I don't do it anymore." But I don't know if I can do the subsidy or whatever, like the gum. I don't know if that's anything for me, especially with masks now. Every time I like facial hair makes my mask it hikes down every time I chew or talk, and so I'm just can't. Yeah, no gum.
Plus, then you got to be like a vapor. You know what I mean? And like no disrespect to the vape community, but it's just not something.
I'm okay with it.
Like my thing about the vape community, it kind of like looks like they're smoking crack. Like the machines, and then but it's infinitely less cool than like if they were actually smoking crack. You know what I mean? Like if you turn the corner and like somebody was like smoking crack, you'd be like, oh, they're for real.
Hardcore.
And then all of a sudden, then you just smell like cotton candy or something. Like I feel like I have enough cotton candy flavor in my diet. You know what I mean? So I don't really feel like I'll ever need a vape. But.
So Ryan, I didn't actually know that you were sober.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
7/23 of 2009.
Wow.
And that's sober from alcohol and drugs.
When I was posting the episode that you were on recently of the Podchaost, the cover is you have a cup of something and you're smiling, and I was like, okay, that's a good picture. And then there was part of me that I even asked Emma, and I was like, hey, is he sober? Because like if he is, he might not want it to make it look like he's drinking. And I was like, I don't want to. And then she's like, you're thinking about it too much. And so then I just did it.
Yeah, I like none of that even like affects me at all. Like like I've been sober for a while now, and I mean like you kind of go through phases of the sort of thing, but like at this point in the game, it wouldn't offend me one way. I mean, like if you like put me with like a booze bottle, I would just think it's funny. Like I don't really care. Like I just don't. You know what I mean? I just I just don't drink. You know what I mean? And it's like so if you did it, it would actually be kind of funnier.
Actually, you should have him butt chugging. That would be the best. Like just Ryan butt chugging like a bottle of whiskey.
Exactly.
That would be hilarious.
Really, honestly, that's like the stuff I miss. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's like, I don't know. I've been going through, I guess you'd call it an ebb, more of a flow state with the drinking, and like, I don't know. I've been more frustrated with a lot of things, and just be like, I hear how good it is because I'm listening to podcasts from like 10 years ago. And people are drinking and like they're like it's just great. I mean, like when someone doesn't drink on the show, it's like addressed kind of like, oh, you don't drink, all right, well, like maybe when you're more fun you'll right. And then there's just those little things that you hear, and I don't know, it just makes me kind of dip back into the thought of like, well, I mean, it wasn't that bad. I wasn't that bad. And then I start thinking like, okay, yeah, I had a flask in my car, so it was like, I mean, yeah, that
so like I mean,
super
like
back
for
and
me,
forth
like
with
it's
it.
hard, I've been through recovery because when I quit drinking, like I was in trouble, and not that anybody else is, and everybody kind of that's not like a big dick moment or anything like that. I just like had screwed up a lot of stuff. I ruined my marriage. I was getting foreclosed. I can be kind of a bully when I drink. You know what I mean? Like all the things that come along with that. And like I was like in trouble. So uh, you know, um, and I didn't really know how to quit drinking at all. I didn't have um any sort of like when I stopped, I was like, I'm just gonna stop drinking and maybe I'll just get it under control. And as Homer Simpson said, I'll have a sniff to report around the holidays or something. You know what I mean? And all I gotta do is just is really just like mind myself for a while and I can probably just start doing this. I couldn't imagine in a million years of like not drinking on my birthday or those sorts of things. And I mean, I didn't even know what to do like when I got sober. Like, I mean, that was like the hardest part for me was like I was so like invested in like bar culture and hanging out with my friends and drinking and and that whole
Yeah.
like world, like losing that was like a pretty big deal. And so um I'm part of a 12-step program, and and there's a lot of opinions about that, out there, and that's fine. I'm somebody who like I'm not religious or anything like that. I just found some really good help in that program, and for me because and we address a lot of those sorts of things in there. There's a lot of people like it's the forgetter. It's like the oh it wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Right.
oh I can have some drinks and go back to like hanging out. That's cool. Like I've done it. I've been away from it long enough now, and or like now this is like a real time I could start drinking or all those sorts of things that sort of like like that sort of like obsessive behavior of drug addicts and drinkers that like that little voice in your head that wants you to do this, and it's for me I've had to really address it.
Yeah, it's really weird because like even when I like there's times that I want to go, I'm not going to smoke weed for a while, and then uh I will sit like I'll smoke weed and be like I'm not smoking weed tomorrow, and then the next day I just do it anyway.
Mhm.
What the fuck is that?
Well,
Is
that was my alcoholic behavior. Like I would literally like get up every morning and like look in the mirror and be like, dude, like you have got to quit drinking. Like you like every morning I would get up and be like like have to like feel like I need to make like 3 phone calls and like you know what I mean like and like smooth things over and like all this like crap and I'd be like dude just don't drink today um and then I'd look down and it'd be like 5 o'clock at night and I'd have like a beer in my hand and I'd be like I don't even remember like fucking deciding on this thing, you know what I mean, like
yeah,
it just ended up here and then I'd be like oh well fuck it,
yeah, and then
morning
you're already
morning
kind of pissed.
stupid. Morning
Yeah,
me was an idiot, you know.
yeah, it's weird how it can kind of make you feel against yourself and bipolar at the same time. Like just I don't know. It's a weird like I guess just internal struggle. That's like what the fuck? Just I'm this guy, so why can't I control this guy?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's like I mean, and that's just obsessive behavior in general. There's a lot of conversation out there whether addiction is a disease or not. There's a lot of argument about it and blah 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 blah. But ultimately, it's compulsory behavior that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
Like most mental illnesses, you know what I mean? Like, when you want to do something and you want to change something about yourself and then you just can't do it. And and it takes repetitive practice and it takes like dealing with issues and it takes like, you know what I mean? Like, why do we choose self-harm as our solution to problems?
yeah,
I'm a firm believer that drinking really wasn't my problem. My problem is that I'm problematic, and drinking made me feel better when I drank. And like it made me not struggle with stuff. And I mean, when I got sober, I didn't do a lot of like any sort of like real serious recovery work or anything for about a year, and then about a year later into it, I had like a really like huge mental breakdown because um feelings hurt. You know what I mean? If you've been drunk for a really long time and you start feeling shit, you're like, oh, you'll pull back that covers and shit gets cold real quick, you know? And like,
I feel like I'm going through right now.
well, kind of, you know what I mean? Like you become raw, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and that's why like I reach out when I know people are struggling with this stuff because like I've been there, you know, and you know, literally after a year of sobriety, which is like supposed to be like the best time of your life, I like literally like not even like joking around. I'm not even like wanted to put a gun in my mouth, you know what I mean? And because I hadn't like really ever addressed any of the shit that like put me in this place to begin with. I mean, it's you know, you want so hard to be just a normal person and you want to be able just to stop something and hope that you can just get better. And sometimes that's just not how it is. There are people who do it and must be nice, you know, but for me, but for me, I needed to work a little harder at it and put some work in because I get, you know, I'm almost like better drunk than dry because dry I start to the creepy crawlies start to come in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that because it really does. There's part of me that's like I'm afraid to stop smoking weed because I don't like dreaming very much.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when I do, you know, I'm too tired, so I just go to bed instead of go smoke weed for a little bit.
Right.
I dream, and then I have a bad night usually, and a lot of my dreams lately have been drinking dreams, which is weird. And I just wake up with the thought in my head of like, oh yeah, that sucks that I drank recently, and then I go, oh, I just dreamt that, and then like one of the same nights, like a few nights ago, I dreamt that I drank and that I stole a cop car. And I was like, those felt just as bad in the dream. And I was like, oh fuck, dude, I really fucked up this time. Oh damn. So yeah, Kyle, how's your what is it? The Wonka tunnel situation with you?
Oh fuck. Oh my my little breakdown. I'm doing better, man. I just had a lot of different things spinning around at once, and we were talking about it how my best friends that I moved here with from Florida almost 10 years ago went back to Florida, and I had to help them move and stuff, and I was trying to process all that, and the day they left was my mom's birthday.
The whole fucking tropical
like, we laughed about it, like me and my friend Brittany, who I helped move. I told her the day it was, and she just started laughing. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up, right? Like, it's just a bad timing. It's just going to be a sad day regardless for me. But I don't know. I felt like I was doing well with that. And it was something like where I feel like I've been welling up. Like, I've been wanting to cry a lot lately, and I just haven't been able to. And then I had this little, like, semi breakdown. And I've been like the past couple of days I've been crying kind of regularly and I feel a lot better. So that's really nice. But it's kind of that whole thing about like that's what I was saying like about not drinking anymore is it's kind of like raw dogging your emotions and you don't know how to process them sometimes after you know. You're just like, dude, this isn't like I thought not drinking was gonna solve all of this, but nope.
Yeah, I'm still a suppressor in the same way of like so like the times that I cry are usually like terrible times. So like I understand that. Or I really hold back a lot of stuff because I really don't like crying. It makes me really uncomfortable. And then I watch something like Hotel for Dogs. You ever seen Hotel for Dogs?
No.
Holy fuck. It's like so like it's a really happy movie and there's dogs everywhere. It's amazing. They're not talking. It's a fucking well done movie with dogs everywhere and Don Cheadle's in it. Fuck, it's so good. Anyway, it's on Netflix right now. I recommend watching it. But it's like the happiest cries ever, but it's like all that shit just comes out and I'm like, okay, cool, I can get it out this way so I feel comfortable. And then my daughter looks at me and she's like, what the fuck, dude? You are just like, you're crying hard. Like, what's going on? What's wrong? I'm like, no, it's just, I like dogs. And she's like, that's a lot that you're crying for dogs. I'm like, you know what? It's a fucking happy movie. That's all I got here.
That's great.
It's gonna come out when it's gonna come out, and like,
yeah, it's
especially especially as like dudes, we have like, like as a society, we have a fucked up relationship with our emotions anyways. But like as dudes, we have like never been like never had the opportunity to really like we weren't raised to feel things. We were
Yeah, there's
raised
no
to
crying in my house.
rub dirt on it. You know what I mean? And like I even had like parents who were like semi okay, but like but a billion years from where we needed to be
Yeah,
as like from like as like being like having any sort of emotional footing in this world, and we just like always kind of expect that we'll know how to do it when we get there, and it's just like and it's just not really like how it works, and
yeah. It's
you know
fucked up because it's like those people that were my parents. That I'm their age when I remember them being adults, and now I'm like, oh, they didn't know what the fuck anything. Okay, cool. I get it. Okay.
I was counting on them, and boy, was that a mistake.
Yeah, sure was. But yeah, there's things that just kind of don't work because it wasn't built that way.
Mhm.
Is how it
Yeah,
feels sometimes.
I think I guess it's like I just think like mental health awareness in general is just like so far behind. I mean, there are so many people that will just I mean, like our whole understanding of addiction is really screwed up from like the just say no program. With the whole don't start and like, from the beginning you are taught that you are flawed if you are an addict. Like that
Yeah,
you made the mistake to start doing this and that was it. When really what they should have taught you is that addiction is something that's like built into people and obsessive behaviors are something that's built into people and occasionally it will manifest in all sorts of behaviors, gambling or sex or food or like, all of the above or you know what I mean, drugs, alcohol, driving cars fast, all these different things that we can manifest ourselves into like obsessive behaviors that like feel better than feeling vulnerable,
right.
and so like, so we're taught that from the beginning that instantly we're flawed rather than instantly like we have something to deal with. You know what I mean? And like that's and like you know, I will still have people always, well, if you didn't start drinking, you would have never been. I'm like, no, it probably just would have come out in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, if it just would
Yeah,
have been something maybe even arguably worse. You know what I mean? Something that had no social element or no, you know what I mean? I could be building bombs in my basement. You know what I mean?
yeah. So
Because I promise I'm not doing that
Kyle, what was the thing that like you felt yourself get pulled out of there with? Like usually in a like when I go through a time like that and I'm just like I'm nearly fucking done with everything. If everything just fucking sucks this much. Um there's usually kind of like one thing that kicks me out of that and gives me kind of like a mirror just to look at and go like, okay, it's not the worst or whatever. I don't know. There's usually a time when I gain perspective or just go like kind of give myself a break, I
I
guess.
kind of gave myself a break. I ran away for a little bit. I went to the beach.
Hell yeah.
Just kind of I took a lot of long drives and I just kind of hung out just away from my place and just and I kind of confronted the way I was feeling and tried to like communicate to the people I was like sad that they were leaving and stuff and just trying to figure out and process exactly how I was feeling about it and everything and talking to them helped a lot and then
It super sucks though to like start doing.
yeah it's
Like
not easy.
the whole like, hey, I got to talk to you about how I'm sad, and then like that. No thanks.
It does, and it's embarrassing. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
really embarrassing, and it's really hard. But it it I feel like it's the right thing to do, and I want people
Oh
to
yeah.
know, where I'm at and what page I'm on, and I want people to be on the same page with me. And like I said, it was honestly the big cries that really helped me. I really needed to get those out. It was like I was like constipated. My tear ducts were constipated,
now.
and because I haven't really cried much at all during the quarantine. It's been maybe a couple times, but like ever since the world basically ended, I haven't really allowed myself to cry about it. You know,
Right.
just there's a lot to cry about. I mean, it feels like a lot. And I just after getting it out felt really good. I watched some sad movies and I listened to some sad music and it helps.
Get some Elliott Smith in there.
No, not that bad. It's just
I guess that's like when you're if you're like telling people that you're listening to a lot of Elliott Smith, that's when all your friends come to your house and go like, "Hey, hey, buddy."
that's very true. Yeah, you get check-ins.
Yeah.
No, I was a little embarrassed. I posted something on Facebook and everyone was very sweet to me, but I felt really silly. I was just I don't know. But that stuff
I
happens.
mean, I think we're really overly hard on ourselves about stuff like that. Like you get real and you get raw, and then we feel vulnerable, and then people then we're like we're silly because, I spend as much time like I have an anxiety diagnosis, and I'll spend as much time when I'm going through like anxious patches of like being mad at myself for being anxious as I am the anxiousness. You know what I mean? So like now I have like two problems. I'm
Yeah.
anxious and then I'm pissed that I'm anxious. I'm like, why don't I feel better? Now you should be able to like work through it. That's that evil little thought that we've been taught, like that, like mental problems are just simply, what I mean? Like if you had put on Facebook, like, oh, I have the flu and I'm feeling really sick, you wouldn't have felt silly the next day. You know what I mean? You were like sick, but when we have like depression, we wake up the next day and we're like, why am I this? And then and like it's this weakness and this vulnerability we have, and it's really depressing. And it's like we can't just like say to ourselves, it's okay to be like this. It's not good, and we want to work away from it, but it is ultimately okay to not be okay. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with us except for the fact that we have like work to do on something that's physiology, whatever. That's wrong with our bodies. You know what I mean? And I think we are so hard on ourselves about it. And this is just shit that I had to like learn like going through it, which is like I was just like so hard on myself for so long about like, oh, you need to like tough it out, and like what's your problem, dude? Like what do you have to be, what do you essentially it just all boils down to like what do you got to cry about? You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I don't know, but that's okay. I just want to fucking cry,
Yeah.
Sometimes shit just kind of sucks.
I just really like dogs, okay?
I just feel
Let me like dogs.
I get teary whenever I watch like a video of like Good Samaritan stuff. Like, like people like just random people like pulling people out of a car that's flipped over that's on fire, or like there's a video of like all these like people in this river in Texas like pulling this family out of the car, and it's like they're all like some rednecks and a couple like black dudes and like all like people coming together, and it's like, and I'll just start bawling. I'll just be like, why am I why am I like this?
Yeah, the triumph of the fucking human will and shit like that is awesome. It's really cool to see.
Posse put it best. He was talking about people who have lost someone or have gone through some trauma. The only thing it takes to make us cry is just a swelling score in the background, like swelling piano music. He's like, that's literally all. And I was like,
true.
no.
So true.
And then I cried at a video game that had that the next day, and I was like, fuck you. I was like, you're fucking right. It's literally all it takes. Is it just needs to get serious for a second. And anything about parents, I'm fucking done. I made a fool of myself watching Coco. Man, it was bad. I was like it's one thing like
I bet.
in the movie theater, but Coco, when I saw that movie, man, I was drenched. Like my beard was drenched with, and it was just around children, and I was just like, I'm drinking beer, leave me alone. Like it was at the Baghdad theater around Christmas time when it came out. It was
Oh man. Yeah, that I mean like the parent stuff got me in that, and like that was just
It was me, Amerman, and Dylan Jones all crying our asses off. We called each other the
hell
Cry
yeah.
Boys after that. And then the best was when spoiler alert, when Coco dies at the end, and they put her picture on the mantle. I just remember Averman crying and going, "God damn it!" Like, he just he hit that point. He's like, "Really? We're gonna kill her off too at the end? All right."
Hotel for Dogs, man.
I need to check it out. I like your happy cry. I need to start maybe working on that. See, the happy cries I get is I listen to motivational speeches that are all spliced up with like swelling music from movies. I'll post some later. They're pretty good. I'll show you guys some. But they're fun. They're like, they take like Southern preachers, like Southern Black Baptist preachers, like just talking about life and like these motivational speeches, and then they'll have like the score from Inception in the background or something like that. Dude, they fucking get me like pumped, and then they like they make me cry sometimes, which is fucking weird. Like I just like, yeah, I can do this. Like, I don't know.
Man, that's funny.
It's weird shit. It's really strange the way that they spliced everything together.
It is really weird how like every time I get one of those like overwhelming emotional panic anxiety moments where it's like I feel like I can't function, or I feel like I have to, you know, talk to someone, and it usually is someone that I live with, which is a bummer for them. I feel angry, like Ryan was saying, in the moment, because I get like caught up in it, because it's like I know I'm gonna think about this later, and I know that I'm gonna be just embarrassed about what I'm saying right now that I feel, but I know I'm not gonna feel this way later. But I do honestly feel this way now, and it's like I know for a fact that I'm not gonna feel this way later, and there's a huge frustration in me, like it's not matching, and so it's like it gets I don't know, it gets really frustrating because it's like there's part of me that's lying to myself.
It's like an out of body experience.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I've had this at work, not so much at my job here, but I used to go into these fucking rage moments at Red Robin, and I couldn't stop myself from like complaining, and I was pissing off all these other people who were also having a terrible shift, but I was apparently making it worse by pointing out how bad the job was, and they would get mad at me to an extent, and I was just like floating above myself, watching myself be an asshole, and I'm like, I don't always feel that way. I kind of like that guy. That wasn't nice what I said. Like,
yeah,
it's like this weird, like overwhelming. I don't know. Like, I don't think I would have hurt anyone there, but I would have fucking yelled at someone for sure. I was like on a rage tear, you know? Like,
yeah, that happens sometimes, and like I'm just like I'll get to the point of nearly throwing things, and I'm like, what the fuck? Who's doing that? What's going on? Because like I really enjoy being like in a good mood. It's my favorite. I hate being in a bad mood, and then it piles on. And I wish being in a good mood would pile on itself that way too.
I mean, for me, it's just like I have to stay ahead of it, and I think that's been like the big thing for me. And I think that's the best suggestion I can say to anybody quitting drinking or anything, and like talk about it, is like, is to stay ahead of it. You know, like it's really tough to build your boat in the middle of a lake. You know what I mean? Like if you have like some tools at your disposal, you know, you can try to like work through this stuff. I mean, I've had, you know, I have some time between me and a lot of like personal work done, and like I can sort of like maintain. I'm not perfect by any means, and still can go to the bad place, but with that like sort of like uncontrolled, like sort of obsessive behavior, I've kind of actually, amazingly enough, I've like learned to like sort of like put it behind me. You know, I mean, like I said, it's not foolproof, and you know what I mean. And I have to keep working at it, and that's kind of the big deal. Is like all this stuff like just takes continuous. You know, all like mental stuff will take continuous work. There's not going to be like one day that you're like, oh, I'm just perfect now. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah, that happened when I stopped drinking, and it was like 6 months later, and I was like, "What the fuck? It's not fixed. It's not done. Like I'm still this guy."
oh, you're not the one who had the cure out of all the millions of people
Yeah, no,
drinking
I was like,
problems?
I can do this.
Oh.
It's gonna be like I know what I'm doing, and no, it didn't work.
Yeah, I got this figured out is what's going to be on my gravestone. You know what I mean? Like it's like
There's a great Modest Mouse song called "I Got It Almost."
yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one. I got it almost all figured out. Yeah, dude, it's weird because you're like, oh, the drinking was just making things worse. It wasn't. You're like, there's the more. I don't know.
Like I wish it was the drinking. Like that would be
Yeah.
easy to stop. It's like like I'm overweight too. People are like, well, you shouldn't really eat fast food. And I'm like if I could just quit eating fast food and like lose a ton of weight, well, that'd be fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I could just quit drinking and be, oh, well, why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean? But like then you quit drinking and you're like, oh, holy shit, now I got like, oh, I'm a problem. You know what I mean? Like I have like the drinking was like it was like an answer. So now what do I replace it with? You know what I mean? Like, and that's the kind of thing is like if you pull that answer out, what's going to be the answer afterwards? You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, it sucks to know that you're just the person with the issue of like, well, I want one thing that I can claim control of, and that's the way I feel. And so I can just turn it a little bit and be like, no, I feel this way. Check that out. And like you feel in control, but at the same time, it's like exactly the opposite. Because
yeah, it's there really is no you know, I mean, I think the thing is just like kind of learning to enjoy the journey of it all. You know what I mean? And just kind of like learning from there and then really being able to like forgive yourself for not feeling perfectly. I mean, I'll reiterate that point till the end of time. It's like really just saying like, hey, you know what? I felt like shit last week. Maybe I posted something on Facebook about it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I should have done this or maybe I should have talked to what none of it fucking matters. Like just learn from it and move forward. You know what I mean? In the end, it's like we're all get one shot at this shit and we're gonna like I mean
yeah, treat it like comedy.
well, I mean kinda, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember once like early in
fucking bombed last week. Oh shit. Okay.
like, well,
Don't do that again.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah.
like, you know, and another posse, because apparently he's a modern day philosopher. Another posse moment was when him and I were working together, we were at the Lamp one night and I just had like I just blew it. Like it just like nothing worked. And it just like it was and then I saw him like at work like probably 3 days later. And I was like, oh yeah, that Lamp mic. And he's like, why are you still even talking about that? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like it's actually like a pretty good philosophy. It's like just move like, yeah, okay. Like I mean we might as well not do any of it. You know, it's like, you know,
yeah,
either quit comedy or move forward. You know,
yeah, it feels like the survival mechanism taking over and remembering the negative more than the positive and holding on to the negative of like, don't do this again, don't do this again. When you could just be like, you can really dismiss it and be like, all right, we'll just fucking try something else.
Well, that was the best advice. The best advice I heard. It was basically the same thing. Was when you are carrying around your losses, you're being just as egotistical as someone who carries around all their victories.
Right.
You're just doing it in the opposite direction. You're egotistical in the sense that you're like, I'm obsessed with how much I suck. It's basically like instead of being obsessed with how great I am, you're just like, I suck. And it really.
Well, and that's the thing is like, and you know, that's a pretty common. I mean, honestly, and I'm trying not to like bring up recovery because I'm gonna put some people off. But for me, like you know, but AA, we talk a lot about ego, and that's what they talk about. We're kind of raised that like ego freaks think they're great. Really, the ego is just about thinking about yourself. You know what I mean? And it's like, and whether that's good or bad. what it is like, how do we like up the id and sort of give it balance? You know what I mean? How do we see over the, like when I'm in an anxiety state, it's impossible for me to see past the bow of my ship. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like there and I'm stuck in it. But like when I'm not, like how am I like living my life to where like I'm not enduring so much by like every single conversation like affecting me like emotionally or you know what I mean? Like how am I doing these things in my life? And the better I get at that, the easier this all is. You know what I mean? And the more I can
Yeah.
like get into like a situation where it's like, I'm not truly like I really try not to be like so truly affected by day-to-day shit. You know what I mean? Because I could drive myself mad. With that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can seriously drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
I guess like you were saying, not being able to see past not being able to see past your anxiety that makes a lot of sense. I was sending an email to a therapist being like, hey, are you accepting new clients? And that's all I had to write in the email. And I sat there for 15 minutes just staring at the screen of my computer going like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I mean, I felt like I was in a movie. It was so fucking
Right.
annoying. And it
Sure.
was just a blinking cursor sitting there. And I'm like, all I have to do is write, are you accepting new clients? That's it. And like, fucking couldn't do it. I went upstairs, came back down. Yeah. And then I was like pissed that I couldn't do it. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't like having
I mean, that doesn't sound nuts to me at all. Like, I mean, I will, and I have like suicidal ideation, which is there's so many levels of that sort of thing. Like when I talk about this isn't like I'm to the point now where it's almost kind of funny that I'll be like, I could fill out this form I need to fill out for like school, or I could just kill myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I know that's like, that sounds really not funny, but it kind of is.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because there was part of me that like I wanted to send him, instead of are you accepting new clients, I wanted to send him an email that said fuck you. And that's it. And just send it and be like, well, guess that fucking door's closed now. Can't handle that anymore. So yeah, guess I'm not doing therapy. So,
You
yeah.
and you. You got frozen on a really funny face. At first, I thought it was just.
Oh, hold on. No, I got. This is just going to be fun for the. It's still recording, but the framing is so off that it's going to be really funny for just a second until he's back. Hold on. Where the fuck? Okay. Well, anyway, but yeah. So it really is like this whole stupid fucking journey. That's fine. Because like there's a big part of me that I want to not smoke weed or cigarettes also. But I'm just to the point of like, well, I stopped drinking, and I know that was a huge part of something that was taking over my brain more than, I was kind of pushing up against the membrane of like, how much can I just fucking not have rules anymore? Right. And then it just gets to the point of like, I'm literally like drinking in my car often. And then, I don't know, there was one time that I drove back from Eugene and really drunk. And, a fucking state trooper pulls up right behind me. And then I just go like, oh, I'm going to take this exit. And then the state trooper does too. And I was like, oh my God, here it is. This is the fucking, oh no, this is where it happens. And I just take a right as if I'm going into this crazy rural country neighborhood. And he goes left. And I was like, oh, I don't know. It's just, those insane close calls that happen.
Sure.
Hi, Kyle. Welcome back.
Oh yeah, sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good.
Like, I mean, I understand you. Like, I understand. Like, so for me, like, I had to like quit it all, to really like do the work. And
yeah,
like, I'm not somebody who would ever tell anybody what to do. Like, I mean, like, I think like people have to figure that out on their own for a lot of reasons. For me though, like, I couldn't like. I mean, I thought a lot of really funny stuff when I got sober. Like, I was like I didn't really think like cocaine was my problem, like because I only did that like 5 or 6 times a month, and I drank every day. So like I actually like told people, I'd be like, okay, I should get some cocaine because I'm gonna quit drinking, so I'm just gonna do cocaine instead. I mean, that was like my logic behind it. But like luckily, I was around enough to not do that. And I think that a lot of people quit drinking first. Because like particularly like like white drugs like and alcohol have like kind of like sexy consequences, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
ooh, I'm gonna get pulled over, or oh, I broke some shit drunk, or I did, you know what I mean, like you might not like, but for me, like I needed to get rid of all of it to really like address it, even the stuff that um maybe was like smoking weed wasn't like, there's a lot of people out there who like just smoke a ton of weed and like they aren't able to deal with stuff still, and like but they don't kind of bottom out like you do with alcohol, you know what I mean, like you're
Right.
like a lot of people who bottom out with alcohol like really bottom,
Oops.
you know what I mean, and if you're and so it's like for me to like really get that work done, that's what I had to do, you know what I mean, is like really get to that really raw place where I can kind of like really feel what I'm feeling,
Mhm.
Yeah, and you also, so if I'm doing my math right, your oldest kid was like 4 or 5 when you stopped?
She was in kindergarten, so she
Okay.
was so she was like 5, 6, yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
'cause
That's
she's about 18 now, so
that's kind of the same timeline that I have. I mean, I haven't drank in it's, I don't know, since, yeah, I guess my daughter was a couple years ago.
Yeah, we're
But it's
coming up
nice
on
that,
2 years.
yeah, 2 years in March.
Yep, same March 15th.
Yeah.
I
And what?
I really think like I feel like I'm fortunate to have gotten sober with kids because um it really gave me a reason to, you know what I mean, like I'm a fanatical father. Like I love being a dad. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
same.
I've just like never been anybody who's been like bothered by it or thinks that it's like I just like people say it's the hardest job in the world, and I like kind of call bullshit on all that. I mean, it can be hard and
Yeah.
like it's not always easy, but like honestly, like it's I don't even think of it as a job. It just is my life. You know what I mean? And like and so so getting sober for me was like I had a very specific um like target and a very like in my face often result of me like like I mean the night I decided to get the morning I decided to get sober, it was I had gotten in a heightened conversation with some guys out in front of Bar of the Gods on Hawthorne, and I was in the middle of my divorce, and I was supposed to take my daughter out for to bowling. And when she came, I had this huge black eye and 2 broken hands, and I couldn't take her bowling because I couldn't hold the ball because
Yeah.
my hands were too hurt. And seeing that, like seeing her reaction to that was like broke my heart in two. So I actually think people who get sober without kids and without like something like I just didn't want to fuck them up. You know what I mean? And so like
Yeah.
like I was like, like how do I fix myself so I don't fuck them up? Like I've been fucked up and like my parents were fucked up and like, down to I mean, my family's like I got my DNA back and it's like half Hungarian. My mom is from Hungary and my dad's, Irish and Scottish. So like my DNA results got a DUI coming to pick me up. You know what I mean? Like it's like
DWI and me.
I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? I want to break this cycle. I want to be like this. You know what I mean? Like I want to be like the guy who like doesn't have to be this anymore. You know what I mean? And my folks did the best they could for what they were given. You know what I mean? But like it was, but it's hard, and so I look at people who do it without kids and who just do it because they need to get their life together and like really give them hats off because that's a like just doing shit for myself. was like, fuck me, I don't care about, you know what I mean? I would have just like,
Yeah, it's really awesome having that, like, I don't know, excuse to be like more responsible for things, but it's definitely not something that I, like I'm not really trying to be a dad. It's just it is there, and it's nice that it doesn't feel like I'm like, okay, I gotta fucking figure out what's going. It's just like, oh, it's super awesome, and that's it.
right.
Like we go longboarding. She's old enough to go longboarding now. It's fucking awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll send you some videos of my daughter skating. It's funny that you bring that up, because that's actually what I really started doing with my kids, was going to the
Hell yeah.
skate park. And because it was just like, and ended up like, she's retired now, but she ended up being like, like sponsored and stuff like that for a while, and winning competitions and stuff. And it was like really nice, like
Badass.
well, it was really like literally like I got sober and I'm like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do with these kids? And like, I'm like, okay, well, let's just start going to the skate park. And and it was like a really nice like trajectory. So when she quit skateboarding, like I almost started drinking again and blamed her for it. No, I'm kidding. That's all joke. Screamed and yelled. Well, great. Now I might as well just get drunk. No, but,
You're supposed to make me rich, kid.
like, this is supposed to be the Cinderella story, the guy who got it together, and now I'm just another sober loser.
Oh, was there a specific thing that so like I heard something and it was just someone saying something with just the right combination of words, like in the right way, that I was like, oh yeah, I've never really simplified it that much and thought about it that way. So like right around when I stopped drinking, Craig Kilborn was on I Think You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh yeah, I just remind myself all the time that no one's ever woke up and said, oh, I wish I would have drank last night. And it's like, oh, fucking damn it. It's so easy. You stupid asshole. Sure. It's so great. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, I don't know. I got an AA, so you hear all sorts of good shit like that. You know what I mean? Like you hear like a lot of good, like, you know what I mean? The thing that I say that I kind of can't, I sort of can't, like, the only thing that makes a shit sandwich worse is putting more shit on it. You know what I mean? And I kind of like have like learned to live by that. Like sort of like yeah, I know like shit could get rough, but like I know for me, like alcohol will just be more shit on that shit sandwich. Like the results of that are like I can, you know what I mean? And if I have to look at it like that. Like when I want to go there, I mean, still after like 11 years or whatever, like I still it's not that I want to ever like really drink, but like there are times where it's just like I don't really know how to handle situations. I have to say to myself, like, don't put more shit on the sandwich. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're good. Like the better thing to do would be to back off of it. And how can I stop? How can I scrape shit off this? You know what I mean? Like a slight thin,
maybe less shit on the sandwich. Okay.
Right, just like a Vegemite. Have you ever put Vegemite on a piece of bread, like a nice thin butter thing of the shit?
No, I've never been to Australia.
That's all the shit I want on the sandwich. You know what I mean? And like it's that's a deep cut. The Vegemite's a deep cut, but it's I want to, you know what I mean? So like that's how I have to do it. And yeah, and Kilborn's right on that. Like you just like honestly, like that was one of the first things that kept me like really sober was like I mentioned before, like getting up in the morning and not feeling like I don't really care about being hungover as much as I just felt like ashamed a lot. Like, I had been like things that felt like really like rad the night before, like fighting or getting together with somebody or like you're lying or like all these sorts of things that you do in those drunken states, like getting up that next morning and like reckoning with that was
that's one thing that Kyle and I have talked about is the thing that kind of kicked it into gear the most was the embarrassment aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm running on pure embarrassment and cold turkey right now. I haven't done AA. I haven't gotten to do like I've looked into it. I was looking into it even before I quit, but I've just had the embarrassment in the back of my head. I remember that night really well, mostly because
Yep.
my girlfriend at the time berated me and told me everything I did wrong, which I deserved because I was being an asshole, but I'll never forget that.
I will say, like AA is it's different than people think it's going to be.
Yeah.
If nobody's ever been, it's different than like I had it in my head. I grew up a punk rocker. Like I wanted nothing to do with any like religion or cults or any of that crap at all. So I mean, to me, AA just seemed like something like old men went and did to go find Jesus afterwards. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, particularly like Portland AA is like, I mean, like now most of the memes are like gender neutral, words that you know what I mean, and people get afraid by the God word, but like I don't really believe the whole thing's more like spiritual, like Buddhism or like kind of like Rastafarianism. You know what I mean? Like to separate yourself from like to like get it out of like the ego. It's more of like a psychological trick you play on yourself. And since it was written in the 30s, it uses a lot of like old timey words that were comfortable then but aren't now. Not that there isn't religious AA out there, and there are people who disagree with me on what I just said. But for me, like nobody in AA has ever told me like how the earth was invented or who I should love or like where I'm going after I die or anything like that. It's really just like a program of like suggestion of like if you do like these 12 steps and find it'll give you some emotional space to kind of deal with life. And I've enjoyed that. So
Yeah.
you know,
When I was young, I sat in on a couple AA meetings when my mom had to go there because I had to drive her to the AA place. And so I got bored sitting in the car listening to Dashboard Confessional. Heyo. And so I'd go in and sit and listen to some stories.
and it's like, and there's a lot of people, I've been to AA meetings and I went to one in Mexico. In like a little town in Mexico. I always love how us white guys are like a little town in Mexico. Like, you know what I mean? It's always like I'm real special. I was, but I was actually like a little town in Mexico.
Called Oaxaca.
And they like served tamales at the meeting. I was like, this is I'm doing all my. And then I went to one in Scotland last year or 2 years ago, and you just hear like the same stories in those places, and it makes you. What do they say? It's like it's always 3 a.m. in the heart of an alcoholic. You know what I mean? And it's nice to find people who feel that way too. And there's like that connection that you have. Like you go to like a meeting in Scotland and they're like telling the same shit as the meetings here. They're having the same problems and the same like everything everybody says you go there and like you'll think you're really unique in it and you go there and everybody feels that way. You know what I mean? And it's like we're all kind of dealing with the same problem.
Yeah, that's the thing that like I felt a lot more since I stopped drinking is like I'm not fucking special at all. This is that's a really really honest and not too fun thing to come and like to start addressing with yourself is like I don't fucking matter. What am I? But like, I don't know. I matter enough for what I want to do. But as far as like, I don't know. I try not to compare myself to other things. But it's fun to compare yourself to everything and be like, oh, I'm just that. It's comforting knowing that I don't matter. That's nice. So then I don't have to. It's like I don't have any fucking itinerary or something like that.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of it. And like, and everybody who goes in thinks their problems are like are huge. And some people's are, and some people have, like lots of things, but the drink problem all kind of boils down to one problem, and to be able to go there and deal with that, and like you'll go in there and be like, well, I did this and I got that, and then you'll meet somebody who's had it 10 times worse, and and it's just like I mean honestly, like you go to AA and you meet people who like blacked out driving and ran over like 4 construction workers and woke up in handcuffs. You know what I mean? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, I mean, like there's like real consequences to some of this stuff. You know what I mean? And like, can you imagine like waking up like handcuffed to a hospital bed? You know what I mean? And like after like
Yeah.
people, you know, and
Dude, my mom hit a cop with her shoe.
I mean, it's funny, but it's like, you know, there's real world, you know,
shit's fucked up.
You know, and our sort of like idea about like just get over it and just figure it out and you'll just like, you know what I mean, is like really ineffective for a great many people. I mean, there are like I mean 8% of all deaths in the world last year were alcohol related. Alcohol related problems cost like this country like $90 billion a year. Most police in like the cities go from one drunk scenario to another. That's like 90% of the people they deal with are all alcohol based. You know what I mean? There's a real, there, and I'm not, this isn't like straight edge shit. I'm not against drinking. Like if people are having fun and doing it, fucking, hey, do it. I mean, I would if I could, but like, but like at some point, like we have to say like, there is a problem here, and the way we're dealing with it is really ineffective. You know what I mean? Like our punishment based, shame based philosophy with alcohol and mental illness in general is a flawed system, and we all pay for it all the time, and we're all like, you know, we quit drinking and we're all grasping around in the dark trying to find our way out. You know what I mean? Because nobody's ever fucking told us how to do this. You know what I mean? Like we're all like, oh, I guess I'll just figure this out now. Like we're just going to be the magical people who like know how to fix like, you know, obsessive behavior. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
I thought that I could do it, dude. It didn't work.
I did too. I did too.
Like if you thought you were like if you weren't depressed, fuck you. You're supposed to be depressed. This is hard. You know what I mean? Like feeling is hard. Like life is freaking difficult. There's a reason why we drink. There's a reason why we do all this stuff. It's because we just don't want to feel this shit. I still feel that way. And you know, but
yeah. There was a joke that I read a couple days ago, and it was Sam Miller. He's got a joke that is, if I could drink responsibly, I'd probably have a little meth too. It's like that's a perfect joke. That's perfect.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. If they gave me a pill that would take away my addiction, I'd take 4. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's good.
I'd be like, wow, if 1 works, 4 would be rad.
Well, this wouldn't be a standard must be nice without some video game talk. Hey Kyle, I got I had this coworker that I worked with for a while, and then he just quit. He went to Thailand. All this crazy shit happened with him. It's I haven't talked to you about this yet, right? Okay. So anyway, he came back, and now he built like 4 of these retro pie things. You know what a retro pie is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he fucking gave me one. And I was like, what? You're just gonna get, it's like $120 item. But yeah, he's just like, yeah, this is my old one. And I'll show you what it looks like, because it's not it's like it's a fucking neato little thing. Check this shit out. I'm gonna go get it. I'll bring it over here.
It's got like all the old systems on it, doesn't it?
Dude, it has everything up to Dreamcast.
What?
Yeah.
That's so rad.
Okay, again. Oh, my shirt. This is as political as I get right here. Boom, look at that.
Sweden.
Actually, I do. I have a shirt that says Obama on it too. That's
nice.
That's
I never get political.
So. So check this fucking thing out.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Fucking.
Oh, nice.
You can do up to 4. It's got right over here. This is the mini HDMI out. That is a circle. What the fuck is that?
Is that for headphones? That's
maybe
headphones. Yeah, or it's an AC input.
Yeah, so then it's just got a little 64 gig card that you put in there in the back.
Nice.
You put all your ROMs on. Dude,
does it work with any Bluetooth controllers or anything like that?
Framing. Yeah.
Nice.
So like my PS4 controller, an Xbox controller works really well. It's like the onboard operating system is set up to understand PS4 and Xbox controllers like the most.
Oh, that is so fucking cool.
Yeah, so you plug it in and it's like, oh, PS4 controller, good, sweet. And then it's just like press all the buttons that you want, and then it's like press the A button, and then it's like the east button. I'm like, oh, dude, I love it when they give you like which one is A, because like sometimes A is down and sometimes A is to the right. Yeah, so that thing is awesome. I've been playing a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 against my daughter, and she plays it like she sets the controller and she does a lot of this action on it, and she's like, you know, and she kind of wins a lot, but I get pissed because I feel like she's cheating, but whatever.
That is a button masher for sure. Yeah, I used to button mash the shit out of that game. Yeah. It's a good game. I traded that game in, and it was worth a lot of money, and I should have never done that. This is how much. So this is how much it was worth in cash. It was the most that GameStop ever gave me for anything. They gave me $80 for it.
Yeah, because it was trading
like
in
insane. There's no way, like shit that's worth $50, they'll give you like $4. That was worth.
When I was working there, it was trading in for credit for like 130. I think it was. Yeah. And because it was so rare. The one for the PS2 and the not
it was so awesome.
Yeah, it was the not greatest hits, because did that one go to greatest hits on PS2?
It might have, but I had the original one, like the original stuff. And I didn't realize how rare it was until like 5 years later. It was just one of the few games I could play with my friend, because he was super picky, and he thought he was super homophobic, and he thought every game I owned was gay.
Link is gay.
Yeah, okay. You know, he called Link gay all the time. He's like, he's a little fairy boy, he's wearing a dress, so he's gay. And I'm like, dude,
you're like, no, his fairy's in a jar in his pocket, idiot.
I'm just gonna be honest. If Link is an adult, I'm cool with hanging out with Link. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's worse.
Just a cutie pie.
Yeah, Link is pretty cute. You know.
Yeah,
I got no problem with that. Link is an adult.
You should find that friend and contact him and be like, dude, you know what? You're right. Link is totally gay.
You're right. And like, I'm super.
I didn't know that you were so forward thinking when we were children. I thought you were being, like homophobic, but no, totally gay.
I used to have a bit about how Nintendo was on the cutting edge of gender fluidity with Link, because everyone mistake him for Zelda all the time.
Right.
And I was like, if there was a non-binary video game character, it's Link for sure.
For sure.
Like, they don't talk. They don't they only make grunting noises. Like, they could be like, it's up in the air. You don't know what's going on.
You know who's really non-binary is Piglet.
Like, yeah,
that's true. I mean, they're not video game, but like Piglet. I've looked it up. Piglet is technically male, but like, I don't think that matters one way or another. I don't think you're really like, you know what I mean. You're not getting real.
And no one's trying to fuck Piglet. No one's like, oh man, look at all that anxiety in that little package.
Dear.
That is something, though. I think that, I'm sure people have talked about this, but like how the desire of people to either want to have sex or not want to have sex with something, it's easier for them to be like, oh, that's sexless, or that person is sexless, and they can kind of, I don't know, with the non-binary thing. Yeah, like, what is Piglet wearing? Piglet's wearing like a sock.
It's like a onesie kind of
onesies. Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, I'm going to be honest with you. I bet Tigger is down. Tigger's got that like I'm from town sort of vibe to him. You know what I mean? Like, he like shows up and he's like, he's got a little Coke energy to him. He's got like a little like, like, I don't see Tigger saying no. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's
Wait,
feel
are
like
we
Texas
sure that
Bible
Piglet's
is like-
not like doesn't have the thorax of a beetle? What the fuck is that?
No, I know. That's what I mean. Like the way it's drawn is so, it's just so strange. It's like
just-
stripes and a little tail that is
Yeah.
sometimes visible.
Yep.
And yeah, that is a
It's an interesting character.
Especially the
I've
go
never
back
even
and
thought
go.
of the gender of Piglet before.
Yeah, but like when you think about it and like you watch Piglet, you're like it's like one day I was like it wasn't like I was like the kids were watching it. I'm like is Piglet a boy? Like it's just like it actually like kind of hit me. Like I mean like I don't really know, and but no, the only female in the entire world is
Christopher Robin.
or no that's no is Kanga
Kanga, yeah.
Kanga.
or Rue, no Kanga, which one's the adult?
Kanga.
I used to think all of them at some point. I think, like at one point, I think as a kid, I thought Rabbit was a girl. I don't know why, even though it was
An old
voiced by
lady?
a man. Yeah, I used to think Rabbit was an old lady when I was a kid. I don't know. I kind of just, it was with Winnie the Pooh. It was really hard to gender all of that. I guess it was kind of just I saw them more like animals, and it was hard. But that is really funny when you think about it. They all have mental illnesses for sure. Like I like the breakdown. They said the two groups of fictional characters with the most clearly defined mental illnesses are Winnie the Pooh and Batman villains, and they're like interchangeable. You could go like either way. Like the Riddler's a narcissist, and so is the Tigger. You know, like
Totally.
yeah.
That'd be a
It's
fun
like, or
crossover.
actually, the Riddler would probably be more like Rabbit because they're so meticulous. But it was pretty cool. They broke it all down. Obviously, Eeyore is depressed. Tigger has ADD. Owl has dementia because he keeps telling the same fucking story over and over over again.
I would even go further with Eeyore. Is like he's not only depressed, but he's kind of a nihilist. You know what I mean? Like I think it's more
It doesn't matter.
right. Like we're all gonna fucking die. Like you know what I mean? Like
He
there'll be
doesn't seem too affected
condos.
by it. He wants to be like the harbinger. He wants them to know. Like he's not necessarily struggling with it.
There'll be mixed use condos here in 5 years. When land prices reach a good enough price. You know what I mean? Like that's
the 100
It's
acre
gonna be
woods
the
are about
1
to be
acre.
the 1 acre. God damn it.
1 acre wood.
The same thought. Gentrify the 100 acre woods becomes the acre wood.
Right. the city park.
Yeah.
It's like one of those fake parks that they put in like those like suburban business parks. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you go there, they'll have like a little path, and, like, lake in the middle of it or some shit. It's like,
feels like there's concrete under this grass, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like we're fooling ourselves with like, oh yeah, we're really kind of in nature, you know.
There's the Salem Hospital has a playground next to it, and there's some really like old school metal slides which I really appreciate. But the mound of grass that they're on is all fake grass. It's all like AstroTurf. It's just weird. Like so, and it's also like a big mound of grass, and the slides go down, but they go down kind of parallel with the hill, which is kind of weird. So like kids can roll down the fake grass. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's like they had they don't want people coming in there with allergy season problems. The hospital, we're busy.
Yeah, I'm too paranoid for that stuff. Like I get in that like I'm the only person in the world like living in like a simulation, or like I'm imagining this whole world too easily.
You come to the right place.
It's like so like I don't know, like there's a movie called like Iceman or Caveman that was like in the 80s that came out, and they unthaw him and he's still alive. And when he wakes up completely, they've created this like fake world, and then he like figures it out, like kind of like a Truman Show thing. And honestly,
not Encino Man, right?
No, not Encino Man.
I was thinking the same thing.
No, it is not Encino Man.
Was the weasel in it? No, my dad took me to Truman Show when I was 10, and it blew my fucking mind hole open, and it fucked with me. Like, I thought people were watching me for years after that. Like, it was a
Isn't
lot.
is there a comedian that has a bit about the Truman Show ruining them?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody locally, I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, I've never done a bit about it because of that, but it literally, like, he thought it was just a fucking regular Jim Carrey comedy. He had no idea. He didn't even watch a trailer. He just like, oh, I trust him.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's there's like flowers. There's actually like a whole series of those shit that you read as a kid that you kind of like, if you're not careful, you can start like telling yourself they've been trying to like Flowers for Algernon, or like I Am the Cheese, or like Clockwork Orange, or like all of these things where they've like screwed with people's minds to like sort of like kind of create this like false reality. And it's like
so out of all those things, I've only seen parts of A Clockwork Orange because when I was a kid, I was trying to find something to jerk off to, and that was not the right movie.
No.
I'm glad that you ended it there. It's like that's would turn it into a whole different, like a deeper conversation. I love Clockwork Orange. I like the kind of the idea of you know, and I've actually really started to appreciate that stuff more as I got sober, which is that like sort of idea of like what is our natural state, you know what I mean? And like and sort of like, you know, how much is nature and nurture, and we're all kind of victims of this brutal architecture, and I kind of like that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm a big fan. I'm a really big fan of the book. As a writer myself, I really like he created his own language for the book, which is pretty fascinating. So
that's pretty hardcore. And he didn't just switch out letters, right?
no, he did not just switch out letters. He made England, like London street slang out of like Russian words, like anglicized Russian words.
Huh.
So you know, we'll say like my Durango 95 heard a real horror show, and horror show just means good in Russian, but horror show means like good in Russian, but they've changed it to horror show. So it's just like things like that. It's pretty cool. Listen to it on Audible. It's pretty good. That would be
okay. What's it called?
I actually just found a copy of it. I want to read it because I've seen the movie a few times, but I heard the book's just a little bit tough to read. But I've read Flowers for Algernon, which also kind of does it. It's not its own language, but it starts misspelling a lot of words, and that's really tough to read. And it makes you feel like you're going crazy when you're reading it. You're like, am I dumb, or like what is like?
Were you talking about A Clockwork Orange that whole time, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm talking about Clockwork Orange. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Listen to it on Audible. Cool. It kind of gets like slipping my mind. Cool English actor.
Malcolm McDowell.
No, he doesn't read it, but that would be cool if he did. But a cool English actor reads the Audible version of it. And I would strongly suggest it because the book is kind of, I read it in high school, or you know, like junior high school, and sort of liked it then, but like it is a bit of a, you have to be like really down to read it, you know what I mean? But like but the Audible book does a good job of getting you to that point of like really like enjoying like the language use and the things like that. It's good. What's the name of the kid who plays Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire.
Tom Hollander. Tom Hollander is
Tom Hollandaise.
This is Tom Hollandaise. He's an English actor, and he reads it, and he's great. He's in. Did you see that Bird Box movie?
Bird Box. No.
Where
the blindfold one?
Yeah, the blind one. He's the one like holds the woman's eyes open. You've probably seen the meme. Anyways,
I haven't seen that.
Does a good job.
But dude, okay, so that guy Tom Holland, I want to hate him. That's the thing about that guy. It's like I look at him and I'm like, yeah, fuck you with your whole smile and charming face. And then he's just hilarious. He's a really good singer. And then it's like he's probably a good actor. I would assume. I haven't seen anything he's been in.
He's a good Spider-Man. He does
Yeah,
a
he's
good
my
job.
Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man
Um,
fanatic.
My Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire, okay? That's my
He's gonna
Spider-Man.
be in the next
See,
one.
he's the right. That's the right guy, right?
Yeah,
I thought I mixed him up with Jake
Tobey
Gyllenhaal
Maguire
again.
is gonna be in the next one. They're doing Spider-Verse. They're doing a live-action Spider-Verse.
Okay, I'll see that. That's.
Yeah,
But
dude,
okay,
it's gonna
what
be,
do you think Jake Johnson's going to be one of them?
they're bringing back a bunch of people. They're bringing back Alfred Molina. They're talking about Willem Dafoe coming back as the Green Goblin. They're doing Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro. It's gonna be cool, regardless. And they're gonna bring, they're bringing Andrew Garfield to be back too. So they're doing like the generational Spider-Man.
I'm not even a cartoon fan. I'm a huge comic fan, but I'm not even really a cartoon fan. And I think Spider-Verse is like one of the best movies I've ever seen.
It's really, really good.
I'm a monster Miles Morales fan. Like I just think like Brian Bendis, who wrote him, was just kind of on the right path when he was like, look, let's freshen these stories up with different like people and different, that was like when he was like reintroducing Luke Cage and coming up with Jessica Jones, and and then he drops Miles, and like people wanted to hate him and stuff like that, but Miles is awesome, and just like they did such a good job with that movie, like when I walked out of it, like I expected to like it, but when I walked out of it, I'm like, was that the best movie I've ever seen? Like, I mean, like really, like I mean, like they did such a good job with the art, and I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's like they really.
Yeah, even though I'd seen the trailer, 4 or 5 times the first time I watched it, me and my daughter were just kind of like both fucking blown away. Because I mean, Spider-Man, whatever, who cares? I'm kind of over at the point of a comic book movie being really exciting to me, but that one was really exciting. Like I don't really care about Spider-Man. I never have until like the movies, which I've seen one time each. But that movie I've probably seen 10 times now. It's great. It's so fucking good.
But I've always been a Spider-Man person, like I was just saying, and I really like the movie too because it brought it down to like Kingpin. See, like I picture Spider-Man fighting alongside Punisher and Daredevil, like in city, like fighting against Kingpin and like inner city workings. They have now glommed him on to the Avengers universe, and I love Avenger movies. Don't get me wrong; I'm a big MCU fan in general. But I mean, I think Winter Soldier is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's just a fantastic movie. It's a top action flick, and but like I really like Spider-Verse because they brought Spider-Man back down to where I think like he belongs, kind of like in town, like fighting crime. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like like leave all the big fighting to these big overblown characters. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Man, like he's kind of built for like I don't know.
He's small, and that's what I like to be reminded of because I watched him. I watched the Spider-Man show after school in like 4th grade on like Fox Kids.
I love that show.
Yeah, and so that was a good show, but it always seemed like he's so small and he's fucking all over the place doing his thing, and that's a cool part of it. And even the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies made him feel kind of like a big buff dude, and I was like, I mean, okay, it's still cool. Like I like the part where he stops the train and stuff.
Yeah,
the
second one. The second Tobey Maguire movie is still one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah,
that movie's rad. It's really rad. And it does something that so many other movies try to do, but they fail miserably. And they try and capture the charm of that original Superman movie. I feel like Spider-Man 2 does a really good job of kind of capturing that style and also making its own style. And just a clear-cut villain and just all the story beats hit really well. And
is that what you mean by the charm of Superman? I haven't seen Superman.
Yeah. Well, the first one, everyone always talks about like, oh, it's bright and colorful and this and that. And it's all these things that I don't necessarily look for in a comic book movie, but I can appreciate when they're trying to do it. Like Wonder Woman 84 attempted to do it, and it was just a mess of a movie anyways.
Right.
But that was one thing that was kind of admirable about it, is it felt like one of those like Superman movies. Even though I'm not a big fan of them, but it was like, oh, you're going for like a Richard Donner type of deal. But yeah, that second Spider-Man movie is still one of my favorites of all time.
Well,
And actually, that Dashboard Confessional was the It was in the soundtrack.
Yep.
I like those movies as well. I'm a horror movie fanatic, so I really, I mean, and Sam Raimi made those movies, and I think part of his charm is he's able to like really like make a pretty likable main character that you sort of like get endeared to, you know what I mean? And so like um like and there's some really good like Evil Dead stuff in the second one that I love, like
Oh yeah.
the arm like flying across the doctor's room, like from the perspective, like it's all like shot like the Evil Dead. That's like a little nod to
Oh, that scene is intense and it's
yeah.
scary. Like it's very scary. Did you know that Bruce Campbell was originally supposed to be Mysterio? Like if he
Yeah.
would have if Sam Raimi would have gotten to do his like 5-movie arc he wanted to do, Bruce Campbell would have been like, "Hey, I'm Mysterio" the whole time. Like and he just like told the audience, and then that's how it would have started. And I was like, that sounds so fucking rad.
That sounds perfect.
Uh-huh.
I like
yeah, the Sam Raimi movies are rad.
I like the Sam Raimi stuff.
I like the third one. I'm in a very small minority, but I enjoyed Spider-Man 3. I think it's a good movie. It's not a perfect movie.
I think the people who so here's what I think about the people who hate that movie is they're like, all right, I loved Spider-Man. I loved Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3, here we go. I'm gonna bring a friend, and then their friend makes fun of the part where his hair's down, and he's like, ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. And then
you do that so well right now with those bangs.
And then they they only remember that part of it, and then so they're just like, well, fuck that whole experience is ruined for me. And then maybe they just don't want to get, I don't know, made fun of because they don't want to attach themselves to Emo Maguire.
Yeah, I mean that whole part is bad, but it's not a bad movie.
Kind of funny though. It's hilarious that it's in there.
Honestly, it's a little bit of over expectation for comic book movies. I'm just gonna say that, like, for some reason they got like epic at some point, and really we can blame the second Batman movie for this, which is a great movie, but like everybody got like blown away from that, and like all this like grittiness and like all this stuff, and like there became like this like sort of like, like it was really like I really saw it with like Iron Fist, because like was the Iron Fist Netflix show good? Nah. Was it a fine like superhero movie or thing? You know what I mean? Like it was fine. Like at some point, like these are superhero stories, And I understand that we've gotten accustomed to like a lot being thrown at it with like really like some of the best directors and actors and like all this sort of stuff, but at the core of it, like it's okay for a superhero movie. It's like acting in a horror movie. People are like, the acting's terrible, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you tuned in for the acting, like we're on you know what I mean? We got like different ideas. You know what I mean? Like I grew up watching The Stuff and Basket Case and the Friday the 13th, and it's like the acting mattered. Like you weren't watching it for the acting. It's like chopping people up porn, you know what I mean? Like the actors are there to get you from one scene to the next,
I've never even heard of the Iron Fist.
He's the
also, who is that guy? Is that Orlando? It's not Orlando Bloom.
It's not Orlando Bloom. He's like he's in something else.
It's Blorlando Bloom.
Oh man.
But that's a superhero that has like a powerful punch.
Yes.
Okay.
Real power.
It's my daughter was watching One Punch Man, and I was she was like 3 episodes into that, and I came into the room. I was like, dude, what are you fucking watching? What's going on here? It's just like this crazy violent anime. And she's like, I don't know, it's called One Punch something. And I was like, okay, I guess. All right, I like whatever, you can watch that. What's that? Pluto, that free app Pluto. It's got some like really good, crazy, weird anime. And
I love Pluto.
You ever watch the Lucha fights?
No.
Dude, they have a wrestling channel. It's got like Lucha Libre, dude, all the time. It's great.
Nice. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I
it's fun to
wanted to.
just have
Last time I
on.
was in Mexico, I decided that was what I was going to do. Is I was going to become a Mexican wrestler. Like I was going to move down there and just because like that was like going to be my focus. Like I was going to call myself El Mocajete because a Mocajete is like that mortar and pestle thing that they used to make like salsas with on there. And I was like,
I'm gonna grind
my
you up.
signature move was like a grind move. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was like, I had it all planned out. I still might. I don't know.
That'd be
Nice. Well,
rad.
if you ever disappear, we'll know where to look for you.
Yeah,
On
like-
Telemundo
Yep.
or Univision, you're going to be the next contestant on Sábado Gigante.
Oh,
Dude,
I love that.
That's one of the best. There's a lot of like, hey everybody, hey, there's a lot of cocaine. I think that's what it is. Mexican television is all cocaine fueled.
Mm.
What do you think about
Well, that's why there's always a clown there. That makes sense.
that? Everybody's just fucking like, it's like, go, get it, hell yeah. Trumpets, flags, shake it, get it. Cool. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for being on here with us. It's been really nice talking with you. Yeah, it's really nice hearing a lot of the actual like good wisdom you have to, share with us. It's nice.
Yeah,
I am very wise. So
Where can people check out all your stuff? It's like a list of places that you submit things to, but
yes,
Go for
well, I'm kicked off of Twitter right now, and I haven't really figured out why yet. But you can find me on Twitter at is ridiculous. I'm on Instagram at gundog75.
boom, right there.
I am pretty easy to friend on Facebook. I talk a lot of crap on Facebook, but I also write for The Hard Times and a number of other satire things. So if you want to read my jokes, you can check me out there.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you all having me on. And if anybody listening, is trying to quit drinking or whatever, reach out. There's a lot of ways that we can do this, and honestly, we all do this stuff together, and there's really nothing wrong with asking for help. Please.
It's super hard though.
Yeah, remember. I mean, I know a phone can weigh 10,000 pounds. I get it, but it's but I like to think about it this way: when somebody asks me for help, it helps me, keeps me focused. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Go ahead, help yourself by helping somebody else. You know what I mean? So go ahead and do that shit. And if you're feeling down and it hurts and shit like that, sometimes it's supposed to. And talk to people. I've talked to people at times, and that's why I'm still here and being able to have all the shit to be able to do. So
cool.
Reach out.
Yeah. Thank you very much once again, and thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kyle. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here with us on Must Be Nice. Catch you next week, and have a good night.